formatting numbers and dates in Microsoft Excel. So I'd like to clearly state that whether it's Microsoft Excel you're using or basically any major spreadsheet you're using, it's important that you realize that utilizing spreadsheet for data preparation is very important. Whether you have to take the data into other platforms for analysis, your data needs to be prepared efficiently and effectively. All right. So now, while we're looking at this, I want to clarify that if you ever see your data this way, there is nothing wrong with it. What happens, or what this tries to show you, is that the content of your data is larger than the width of your column. So to ensure that we see things clearly, I have to adjust the width of the column to see everything we have clearly. Okay. So you could see that we already had formatted this to Naira, to currency, and we have Naira here, okay? And we have the date formatted in a specific manner. But what if you want a different kind of formatting? For instance, let's begin with the date. So we have the date column selected. That is, the date column is in the A column. Then we go to our home tab, navigate to our numbers group on the ribbon. What I like to do is to show you how to achieve these things in various ways. For instance, because it's formatted to date already, we could see the formatting date here, which we'll say is the data type. So to pick more run dates, whether it's long dates, short dates, what I suggest is that we go to more number formats. And then we pick dates here, and we can have different date formats here. We could indicate the location of which we want the dates formats to be, and the calendar, okay, whether Gregorian or Gregorian English. If we want United States, we can pick United States, and we basically see the pre-formatted date formats we have available here. Whether we want it to be the day, the name of the day, and it to be appeared this way. If we click this and we say okay, you see it basically has been formatted that way, if this was our choice anyway. So on the currency, because all of these three columns are basically currencies, I can decide to format them at once. But let's see again, because it's already formatted in the currency, we have currency here. So I go to more number formats and then see all of the categories we have, whether general, usually the spreadsheet is set to general where it collects any data type, basically. We have numbers, currency, accounting, date, time, up until custom, right? So on currency, you click on currency, determine the numbers of decimals you have after your currency. You can just say you want 0 by just deleting and filling it in. Then on the symbol is set on none now. We can decide if it's Bitcoin, if it's other forms of currency, the dollar. Remember, be very mindful while selecting dollar, because we have all different dollar signs. So we have the Cherokee dollar, the Chinese English dollar, Australia, Belize, Canada, Hong Kong, and so on and so forth. You have a lot of other dollars here. You have Japanese, Chinese yen, and so on and so forth. Then you have the Naira. Here, the Naira is quite, you understand, you're going to see Edo, Fula, Nigeria Hausa, Ibibio, Nigeria Igbo, Kanuri, Yoruba. So one thing I've discovered is just basic arrangement. So this is the Naira, right? Let's see how it's currently on the Igbo Naira. Let's see how the Fula Naira is arranged. When we click the Fula Naira, you see that the Naira is after the figure, right? Okay, we have this, then the Naira. Look at it here in the preview window. But if you pick the Hausa Naira, we have the Naira sign before the figures. If we pick Igbo, the same thing, the Naira signs before the figure. The Yoruba, the same thing. So the Fula is different, okay, from other signs of Naira. So I basically just pick Igbo at once and say, okay. But if you don't want the Naira, you could pick the dollar if that is what you want, or the pounds if it's what you want, or other forms or of currency. So let me just pick the dollar, English United States, and say, okay. So we have the dollar sign here now with the currency. So there's something about calculating in spreadsheet that I want to point out really, because sometimes I see young analysts make these mistakes. Let's say we want to calculate a total percentage profit. So we want to say on each of these days, let us know the percentage on profit we have over sales. So let's say percentage profit. Okay, we are going to adjust our column width. And before we do that, we want to calculate the sum of what we need. We need the sum of sales. So to calculate the sum of sales, we'll say equals to sum. Then we could just impute the range, that is B2 to B10, then close the bracket, then we have the sum of sales. So to calculate the percentage of profit, we have to say each of the profit divide by what? The total sales, right? Multiplied by 100, right? Usually, that is what we calculate as percentage or rate. But in this case, I want to show you something. I want to say equal to now. And this, that is D2 divide by B11. Sorry, D2 divide by B11. So if this was all I would want, it would have been fine, but I want to autofill, so I have to hold down this cell and make it a constant. So to do that, I have to use the sign, the dollar sign, before the column and before the row to ensure that while I autofill or drag down to get the results for these remains. Okay, I said enter. So I basically have it entered like this, as the profit as the numerator and the total sales as the denominator. So if I autofill, I want to come to this square box here and double click to just autofill. Now, because I have it this way, I could easily format into percentage and have the percentage available for me. Let me calculate total here, and so you see what the total is. If I say equal to sum to calculate the total, open bracket, and I impute the range that is from E2 to E10, and I close my bracket and hit enter, I have this total. So my total isn't in percentage at all. Okay. So to effect the percentage formatting, I'll highlight the areas I want to format, then go to Home tab, then to Numbers group. I could just basically just pick percentage here, or I want to do more, I come down to more number formats and say percentage. Because I want to have more control, I want to state if I want 2 decimal places or none. Let me leave it as 2 and then click OK. So you basically can see all of the contributions we have here. Okay, now it's in percentage. But what if I decided to have multiplied it to get the percentage at once? Let me remove this formatting and so that you see what I mean. If I remove this percentage by taking it back to general, right? And I multiply my analysis, my figure by 100, that is shift 8, multiply by 100 to get a percent. Now, it is 2.14%, isn't it? I can decide to shorten the decimal to make it 2.15. But it's not understood to be percentage. Okay? So let's say, let me autofill this now. I'm going to have this as percentage. So if for any reason you have done this and you want to have it represented in your charts or whatever as percentage, you realize that you need to add or format it to percent. But when you do now, you'll see what happens. It becomes 215% because it converts what you have now to percentage, which is now wrong. Let's take it back to general and see. So you have 2 points, this 1 point as percentage, right? So now by formatting to percentage, Excel feels that, oh, this is percent and I have to convert it to percent. That's what happens when you do this. So the correct thing is to ensure that you actually know that you can format into percent, and Excel will do you the honors to make it as percentage. So just do the division, right? And when you take it across, you'll see that Excel have done you the honors of actually having the appropriate percent. Okay? So that is the correct way to do this.